Hey everyone, just around a month ago, I've released a collaboration called Gone Away, which was influenced by a future-based sound and somewhat like a hybrid between other genres. And today I'll be breaking down how I made that track and talk a little about the process from the very start to the very end. Be sure to check out the full song after this video and the special lyric video that goes along with it. So for the story of the song, it actually started back in 2019 and actually written by two other friends who sang it, and I had a first version in 2019, but it wasn't that good, so nothing came up from it. And so this is a new version which I made during the lockdown early on this year, and it actually sounds quite different to the original version. It's a shorter song, and I readjusted the overall structure, and some of the vocals were cut out. And so this entire song was kept in the shelves up until around April this year, when I came back to it and started a couple of rough sketches, and then I worked on the ideas and combined some of them, and then I finished the song in July, and then after that I was working on how to release it, and then yeah, it's already out, and you can go check it out on Spotify and on YouTube and everywhere else. So this project, as you can see, there are 134 tracks. And again, I've organized them into groups, and some are in summing stacks. The structure of the song starts with a verse, then another one, then we've got the chorus, the build, and the drop, and then this same structure repeats for the second round, with some variation at the end. I think the first logical part to start is the vocals, and actually some of the vocals were the same one recorded back in 2019, but I did ask for some new ones which I could then combine later. So I've got here, this is a summing stack for all the vocals. I did quite a lot of basically just cutting, a lot of cutting and fading to make sure it sounds smooth. You see here, there's a lot going on here. I've also manually did the volume of some of the harsher S sounds with the de-esser. Didn't really manage to control it. And on the summing bus, there is a compressor, just to make sure that the vocals sound a lot more confident. And then there's a reverb as well as some imaging. And for this song, I felt that it was better for me to mix the dry vocals and the wet vocals together, and so together it sounds something like this. So it's a lot more in the front of the song, as you could say. Yeah, so that's the vocals. Here are just all the resources from all the different versions. These are like the stems, so I took them from there and made another separate vocal track. And for the drums and percussion, it's actually quite a simple song. It's a very simple kick, and it's not really a 4-on-4 pattern, but this is what, like the kind of rhythm you would find in typical future bass tracks. So take you the drop. I've got some claps and snares, and we've got a couple of loops here. Some of my samples, I might just cut it out, change the positions and things like that, so you get that kind of future bass vibe. Most of them, I don't think there's much processing going on, just about like reverb, some transient shaping. Yeah, pretty simple there. And for the sub bass and the mid bass, I think I've got a couple of layers. They're all in the same grouping bus. So we've got this is like a sub bass. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And it's just basically following the chords. Quite aggressive, this layer. So this one is in mono, and then we've got a couple of ones that are on the sides, just to make sure It's wide and it fills up the frequency spectrum and the kind of 3D space, you could say. I made sure that I cleaned up the bass or remove all the low ends which would fight with the sub bass. And there's of course there's a compressor for side chaining to make sure it doesn't clash with the kick. And then there's this other special one. This is the instrument from Logic's ES2. It adds kind of like a rhythm to the low end. Right. Moving on, the pads. Let's see where the pad is. I think this one is piano. Yeah. So yeah, this one is the cloud formation from Alchemy. It's a very good plugin from Logic actually. There's a low end. I remove all the low end so it doesn't clash with anything. I think you can't really hear it, but it's one of those things that if you don't have it, you're gonna miss it. Yeah, and for the chords, the source is actually in the bus here. I bounced it out because the processor wasn't coping very well. So these are some of the sounds I use for it. Pretty much all from Logic. It sounds like this. So it plays a rhythm. I think it's this one. Something like that. Section is really important. Again, just make that it ducks when the kick comes in. Give that impact. And yeah, moving on to the leads. And the melody itself is in the group. It's actually not there's not a lot going on. It's just this. Actually, this is the melody. And in the second drop, there's a lot more going on. Yeah, it just cuts through the mix a little bit more. This is from Vital. It's my own plugin. I just call it LNS plug. This one again, and then this gritty lead is from Logic. This is very simple. There's just a compressor for suction, and then most of the stuff goes in the individual tracks. Actually, not much going on. And actually, show you the Midi what it looks like. So yeah, kind of have like a similar structure, and then it kind of ends it off in the end there, going down. And the vocal chop is actually one of the main stuff of the song. I basically manually did it, just taking the parts of the vocal I think could be useful and then just cut it out, rearranging it and putting some effects on it. So I came up with this rhythm. Hopefully it will work. So you might hear it's a bit weird because I use some of presets from Logic, so I've got like a distance, aberration, whatever that is, shooting stars. So this gives it a bit of more character and a bit more like grittiness. Yeah, and the summing stack has reverb, an imaging tool, and a compressor just for the sidechain. As of course, the build-up. For the build-up, it's quite simple really. It's not much going on. Where's build-up? Let's see. Let's grab the build-up. So a couple of risers, risers, snare rolls. And actually the main thing about the automation is that you want to make sure that the volume is lower than that of the drop. So that's what makes it impact. And I think there's one reverse sound I made, which is add a lot of character to the song. So this one. Yeah, so it's basically the first note, the first chord of this saw, and reversed it, put some, I think it's some reverb, just some pitch bending. Reality plugin. This is a free plugin you can all get here. So yeah, I bounced it out, so you can't really see what I did, the automation there. And that's basically how the drop was made. And during the break, there's only a few elements playing because I wanted the vocals to be the main thing. So there's a piano. Oops. Yeah, that's right. Arp, lots of reverb, putting in the back really. And they're all EQ'd so that it doesn't clash with the vocals. So you can see here, it's quite like a surgical EQ, you could say, just cutting where the vocal shines the most. And then there's a couple of percussive elements coming up, so like drums and claps. Yeah, and the arpeggio, let's just talk more about that. Let's just show you the Midi. So this is what it looks like. Really simple. It's just basically 2 notes. Yeah, and it's really quiet as well because I felt that when I played it back, it was clashing with the vocals too much. So I decided to put this one at the back and then the vocals in front. Again, no low end there. If you can see, just grab it. Yeah. So looking at that, what is it? Actually, the piano actually. I'm not sure. I think yeah. So there's a direction mixer, reverb, transient shaping tools, and the MZ, just to kind of decrease the mid gain, so that it impacts more on the side. And that's really basically how I made the track. It's actually quite a simple song. It took really a long time to kind of get the right feel for it. And yeah, you can go check the lyric video out on my YouTube channel. I'll link it down below, and then hopefully you gain some new insights on the music making process.